Hi everyone, welcome back and welcome to another midweek gel palette play. And today, as I've been promising, I'm going to do some more things with Pearl-Ex powders on the gel plate. And I'm going to be showing you a couple of different techniques today. And these are going to be different from what you've seen in the video last week. So if you watched that, this is kind of a bit of a, here's some other things you can do. All right, I'm going to talk you through the first one, and I'm working on my 5x7 plate. So I'm going to talk you through the first one and then let you watch a few others and see what we can achieve. So I'm going to be showing you two different techniques with the Pearl-Ex powders today, and I believe that you can also use the pearl powders that Ranger do, and I think that they work in quite a similar way. So I'm going to be putting down a layer of black to start with. That's probably enough for my little 5x7. And you just want a nice even layer, not too thick. Layer off over here, and then I'm going to pop a stencil on top. Now I've got some new mandala stencils that I'm going to be playing with today. They don't quite fit on my 5x7, but that's okay. I'm going to get it as central as I can. And then I'm going to grab some ordinary tissue. Now this is just ordinary gift wrap tissue. I have a roll of it, and I've used all my scraps and my recycled stuff up at the moment. So I'm using on my roll. But you can use rice paper, but you want something that's nice and soft, because your aim is to press into your stencil and pick up that paint. You do unfortunately get dirty hands doing this, so if you don't like paint on your hands, I would suggest you put some gloves or something on. But what you're wanting to do is to work that tissue into all those little cracks and crevices of your stencil and pick up as much of that paint as you can. And with this one, we're going to go along the edges as well. And you can generally see with the thin tissue if you've got into all those nooks and crannies or not. But don't panic, because pull it back, have a look. If you've got areas that you haven't quite got, just take the corner of your tissue and get in there a little bit more. And of course you get some lovely byproducts by doing this, and I keep these beautiful bits of tissue, and they're fantastic in collage. Now I've just noticed I've got a little bit more there that you can pick up. You can sometimes tell by looking at your tissue if there's areas missing, and you can go back and just pick up some of that black a bit more. Because the more black you pick up, the more colour you're going to get on there. Alright, so once you've done that, with your stencil still on the plate, choose some colours of your powders. I'm going to go for some really bright colours today. Ooh, let's throw a bit of yellow, maybe a little bit of green as well. Now I keep a little soft brush exclusively for using with my Pearl-Ex. Excuse me, I'm just going to sit myself down. I like to have them all open when I'm doing this, so that I can dip in and out of them. But I do put the lids on as soon as I've finished, because believe me, they make a mess. Alright, and now it's literally as though you were painting, and you're going to fill in all those areas where you've lifted that black paint off. And it's entirely up to you. You know, you could do a big swathe of different colours going right the way across, or you could do more as I'm doing here and pick out details with certain colours. So I got interrupted there, the phone rang, but as I was saying, this is very much about your choice as to where you put the colours and how you do this, but basically you're just looking to fill in all the areas that you took the black away from. And you just want to aim for sort of a reasonably even coating. Make sure there's not too many gaps. But these powders are really fine, and a little goes a long way, you will find. So I could probably pick some of this green up there, and you see there's still plenty on my brush to transfer elsewhere. So they really are quite, and I think I said this last week in the video, these powders really are quite economical when you think about how far they go. And what I will do is look up on the internet and find a price before I edit this video, so you can see how much they are. I just think they're wonderful. And as I was saying last week, you can use them on card. You know, if you're making greetings cards or you're journaling or whatever, you use them with the Versamark, the gluey pad, as though you would for embossing. And I've also got an embossing pen here, and so you can draw on card and use them for that as well. Now I'll give you a quick, this is a quick aside. Ooh, that's a shiny piece of card. Let's find a non-shiny bit to show you. Okay, so there's a letter J. Look at that, as if by magic. It's like magic writing, isn't it? And that's now, I'll just take a bigger brush, brush it off. There you go. Great fun. Anyway, where was I? Right. So I'm going to carry on with this, and I'll fill in all these bits. I might speed this bit up for you because you get what I'm doing. So I'm just literally, I've decided to pick the different bits and fill them in different colours. So I'm going to carry on, come back in a minute when it's done. So as you can see, that's all filled in. The next thing to do is just to take a big fluffy brush, could be anything, and just very gently brush over, get rid of any, and you can see there's sort of some excess bits coming off there, and then very carefully lift up the stencil. Wow, look at that. Let's put that in a drop of water. Okay, now what you do next will depend on what you want it to look like when you've finished, because what we're going to do now is to put a layer of paint over the top to pull it with. And if you do a light colour, where you will see some of that colour through, and if you do black, you will just see the black. And I'll show you later on in the video, I'll use the same stencil and do the two different ones so that you can see. I'm actually going to choose tossing up. I've got this gorgeous violet and also this lovely, I don't know what colour they call it, old mauve. I'm going to go for the violet. So this is like a dark violet. I have to be honest, I'm loving this colour at the moment. Put a bit on there like that. Nice even coat. Clean off my brayer. Right. And now the paper I'm using, I'm just tearing a sheet in half because I have big A4 sheets. But this is it's 160 GSM, this paper, and I've been having some quite nice results with this on the plate at the moment. Now, this is where you do need to have a little bit of patience. I have found leaving the prints for sort of 5 to 10 minutes before you pull that final, before you pull them, really pays off. So if you have the patience to leave them, you get some better results. And the other thing I have found, and it's a little bit tricky because I use an acrylic plate, but it's easier if you can pull, you get better results if you can pull the gel plate away from the paper rather than the other way around. So I'm going to leave this to sit and to dry. I'll come back and show you. Alright, this has probably been sat for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to try and, yeah, this little one comes off quite easily. Flip that over. You can already see. Look at that. You can see why I love these, can't you? Can you see that in the light? There we go. All right, I'm going to do a couple more with some different stencils and pulling with different colours just to show you the different effects you can get. So watch along and see if it inspires you. So looking at this one, there's quite a lot of black that came off with the stencil. So I'm going to try this, and therefore you can see quite a lot of the cream that I pulled the print with. So I'm going to try this same process again. I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time I'm going to pull with black as well, and we'll be able to see what the difference is. Alright guys, this video has come out to be a little bit longer than I thought it might, so I'm going to split it into two. And if you tune in next week, I'm going to show you how to use the Pearl X powders directly onto the plate and then pull with some paint. So we'll be doing that next week, and I'm also going to be adding in some, it's like gold leaf, but it's not expensive. This is a silver, it's very, I'm not going to get it out now. You know what it is. It's gilding flakes, that's what it's called. But this is the cheap version from the dollar store, and I'm going to be playing with that on the gel plate as well next week, as well as the Pearl X powders directly onto the plate. But let's have a look at what we achieved today. So this was the first one, and this was pulled with the dark violet paint. And then we did our two sort of steampunky themed ones, and here you can really see the difference between pulling with a light and a dark paint. So really just depends on what kind of effect you're wanting, and I'm guessing if you pulled with maybe a slightly darker, maybe somewhere between a tan and a brown, I can't think. Would burnt sienna be too dark? I'm just having a look to see what I've got. I don't think I've got anything that would be the right colour at the moment, but sort of a medium brown, you might get you know, a different effect again. But you know, have a play. You can also, you don't have to put black down to start with. You could try doing a different colour. I love the black because I get the contrast. But yeah, so experiment with pulling with different colours and you see what we get. And then this one we pulled with the pinky colour that you see here. And I love this. That was the script and the feathers. So there you go. Hopefully some of that has inspired. As I say, tune in. So tune in next week. We'll be doing something slightly different with the Pearlex, and we'll be adding in some gilding flakes as well. But for now, thanks for watching, folks. Ka kite anō.